human right perspective. And thank you so much for being here. And thank you for gracing us with your presence. We are looking forward to your session.
Thank you so much, Navjeet. Good morning to you. You are in Canada, and good afternoon to all the Indian participants who are here. I'm very, very thankful for the nice words about me, and also very thankful to Dr. Vaishali Kole, and she has been a good friend for me for the last so many years. And she always invites me, and I couldn't say no to her. So once again, I am with you and just trying to speak on the access to justice for the persons with disability. That is a human rights perspective, or that's a legal perspective, because I belong to both the fields. So my lens to see the persons with disability and for their access to justice, that becomes very important, particularly on this fifth national conference, which is also taking forward the agenda of accessibility in various terms. So if we go for the access to justice in simple terms, it is a necessary part of making the rule of law. Rule of law that is fair for everyone. And access to justice is both substantive and procedural. They are interdependent also. So we see that when a person, when he faces a legal issue, and that is, you see that they could benefit from, or they may be aggrieved by a legal action. So they have a time and affordable access to, that is the appropriate level of legal assistance, as well as fair and efficient courts or the process to resolve the disputes, so that they can understand and they can make decisions about their legal issues. And also at the same time, they can get a fair and cost-effective resolution on the facts and applicability of the laws also. And they may feel that they are being heard, or they have been treated fairly, so that they understood the outcome of that thing, that is access to justice. So access to justice is related to a legal system, the system by which people may vindicate their rights or their disputes may be resolved. And for the vindication of rights and resolving disputes, it requires a system which is equally accessible to all, and that leads to the results that are legally, individually, and socially just. Therefore, along with the legal provisions and legal assistance, the courts also have a large role in ensuring access to justice. Access to justice can be formal and informal, both ways. The formal ways of the access to justice is basically the adjudication of disputes by the courts of law, which follow the rules of civil procedure, which follow the rules of criminal procedure. But at the same time, they also include the cost hurdles, the inordinate delays are there, and other technical hurdles are also there, like delay in execution of the court's order, and so many things are there with the formal system of the adjudication or formal access to justice system. But when we talk of the informal access to justice, that includes the alternative modes of dispute resolution, like arbitration is to be there, conciliation, then mediation is to be there. Lok adalats are now coming up, Nyay Panchayats in the rural areas are coming up. The disputes can be resolved through negotiation. Ombudsmanic or Lokpal type of institutions are also there. And now with this pandemic era, you see for the last 2 years almost, we are having the online dispute resolution system also working for that purpose. So in informal access to justice, that includes different or alternative modes of dispute resolution, and that also provides the right for access to justice. Now, coming to the supreme law of the land, the preamble of the Indian Constitution that resolves to secure for all the citizens the justice, that is social, economic, and political. So that is a guarantee to all the persons, to everyone without exception, because it starts with the we, the people of India. So that is to provide, and that is to secure, and that is to give the justice, social, economic, and political. Further, Article 14 of the Indian Constitution that guarantees two things basically, that is the equality, that equality before the law and equal protection of the law. So these two things are guaranteed by Article 14 of the Constitution, and that is within the territory of India. So the words equal protection of the laws are very important, which we can divide further, or which indicates two more things. First, that every person is entitled for the protection of the laws of the land. And secondly, every person within the Indian territory is equally entitled to the legal protection. So we see that the question is how the poor and weaker sections of the society can seek justice. And for that, under Article 39A of the Constitution, the provision is there for free legal aid. Free legal aid to the poor, to the weaker sections of the society, to the vulnerable sections of the society. This is just to ensure justice for all. So we see that the constitutional provisions are there. Further, the judiciary and the legislature who are making the laws, how those laws are to be executed, we find one more provision in the Constitution, that is Article 256, and that puts an obligation on the state and the union that the state governments, they have to implement the laws which have been passed by the parliament and the state legislatures. And secondly, if there is any failure to implement, then the union government is under the obligation to direct the state governments also to ensure the compliance of the laws. So the system under the Constitution is very, accurate, which speaks about the making of the laws, which speaks about the execution of those laws, and which speaks about the interpretation of those laws. And that all has to be done within the constitutional preamble that resolves to secure justice, social, economic, and political to all the person concerned. Now, besides the Constitution, we have the legislative provisions also. We have the Legal Services Authorities Act of 1987, and that provides for the constitution of National Legal Service Authorities, known as the NALSA. And that NALSA has to monitor and evaluate the implementation of legal aid programs, basically. That is all just giving way for the access to justice to all. So NALSA has also to lay down the policies and principles for making legal services available under this act. And then there are state legal service authorities, district legal service authorities. They are working for their respective jurisdictions also. Then Supreme Court and High Court legal service committees have been constituted under that act. At taluka level service committees, at district level committees. So all these are just working to give effect to the policies and directions which have been made by the NALSA. And that is to provide the free legal services to the people in that respective jurisdiction. So basically what we see is that this is just to help and assist and to ensure access to justice for all, specifically the poor and the weaker sections of the society. And NALSA has also laid down certain policies and the principles and guidelines by organizing this Lok Adalats for legal awareness camps also. It provides for the free and competent legal services to the eligible persons also. There is a provision also for the payment of the court fee, process fee, or any fee which is related to or in connection with the legal proceedings and services of the lawyers in the legal proceedings. So all these are the points which the NALSA is taking forward in order to ensure the access to justice. And basically the persons who are eligible to get this pre-legal services, they includes the women, children, then the members from SC/ST, and particularly the disabled persons are also the part of their scheme, and they are also entitled, they are also eligible to get the free legal services. So we see that the NALSA under the Act of 1987 is just working to enhance the access to justice possibilities for the person concerned. Then to further this working of the NALSA, this working of the state legal service authorities, we have the Rights of the Persons with Disability Act of 2016 that specifically puts one section, that is section 12 of that particular act, which provides for the access to justice. And that access to justice has to be without discrimination on the basis of disability. So that access to justice ensures that the persons with disability are able to exercise the rights and right to access to any court, any tribunal, any authority, any commission. That is the all the judicial and quasi-judicial bodies, all the bodies which are having the investigative powers, where from the justice can be taken, so that access to those areas where from the justice can be obtained, so that is to be accessible to the persons with disability without any discrimination, and also to take suitable support measures for those living outside the family, because the persons with disability, they need various types of the support also. So the provision in this RPWD Act 2016 that also provides for that. And if they are requiring any high support for exercising their legal rights, so all these has to be ensured so that they may get access to justice. So we see that the NALSA and SALSA, the National Legal Service Authority and State Legal Service Authority, they are also under the obligation to ensure the equality in access to any scheme, any program, any facility, or any services offered by them. This is the provision under the this RPWD Act of 2016 also. And at the same time, you see the governments, they have to ensure that all the public documents, equipments, to enable the filing of any suit or storing and referring of any of the documents which are required for the legal purposes, evidences, they are all to be in accessible formats. And for making them available, all the necessary facilities, also all the equipments that can facilitate the recording, basically to take care of the persons who are blind, the persons who are deaf persons. So for them, special care has to be taken and necessary facilities are to be provided. This is the work of the government under this particular act also. And again, you see the government has to ensure that their language, which is preferred, that the communication shall be taken in account by the filing departments, where they are going for filing their suit, their case, their complaint, their problem. That may be in any government department, that may be in the registry, that may be other office of the record. So that all must be in their preferred language and means of communication. That has to be taken care of, so that all the procedural and substantive requirements which are there in the Act of 2016, they can make the access to justice as a statutory right. Further, you see, besides the statutory right and a fundamental right, this access to justice is a human right also. And various norms and standards for access to justice are set out for the persons with disability in a number of instruments at international and regional level. Some are binding, while some are non-binding instruments. Basically, if you see the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that is only a declaration. And Article 8 of that UDHR, that recognizes the everyone has the right for effective remedy by the competent national tribunal. That if there is a court which is established in a particular state, then every person must have this right to have the effective remedy. And when one can have the effective remedy, when the person would have the right to access to that remedy also. So access to justice is ensured by this Universal Declaration of Human Rights under Article 8. And this right to access is also codified in the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Section 14 is there, which provides that all persons shall be equal before the courts and tribunals. So you see, besides this access to justice, this ICCPR has also provided certain we can say certain procedural safeguards also, like due process, hearing, defense, legal representative, liars, and so on. So in criminal proceedings, this ICCPR also sets out a range of procedural due process rights to the persons. Then UNCRPD, which is a specific convention for the persons with disability, that is under Article 13, specifically provides for the access to justice. So what we see, the language which is there in our Act of 2016, that is almost similar to that UNCRPD Article 13, which puts an obligation on the state parties. India is also a signatory to this UNCRPD. So this is an obligation on our country also, that is to ensure the effective access to justice for the persons with disability. And that has to be on equal basis with the others. So what you are giving to others, you have to give to the persons with disability also. And that is including the witnesses, including that is to be in all the legal proceedings, and that is just to facilitate their effective role as the direct and indirect participant, because it is not only confined, access to justice is not only confined that the person who is a victim, he has to go to the police station, he has to go to the court, but all the other persons who are working as the witnesses, who are to take part in the evidences, who are to have some support system, they all have to be provided with the equal and effective access to the justice if they belong to the persons with disability class. And you see that Article 13 also provides to promote the appropriate trainings, because everybody doesn't know or is not aware as to how to deal with the persons with a disability, what are their problems, how to do with these things, how to take them into access with that justice system. So for that, the promotion of the appropriate training for those who are working in the field of the administration of justice, whether they are police officials or they are the prison staff, they are the court staff or whatever, to say that if they are involved in any of the procedure in any of the system that is taking for this administration of justice, so they are required to have a proper or appropriate training also to deal with the persons with disability. Then this is not only Article 13 which speaks about the access to justice. Besides 13, UNCRPD also provides some other rights to access to justice. For example, Article 5 is there, which speaks about the equality and non-discrimination, and every person is equal before the law, and they are to be treated without any discrimination. They have the equal benefits of the law. They have the equal protection of the laws. Then in simple terms, if we talk about the accessibility, then Article 9 of the UNCRPD that speaks about the accessibility to enable the persons with disability that they to live independently and to participate in all aspects of life and to access on equal basis. So you see that the focus of this UNCRPD is on equality basically, and through that equality, accessibility is to be obtained. And that accessibility may be in the physical environment, that accessibility in the transportation, that accessibility in the ICT information technology, information and communication technologies also, or any of the systems where this is required, they have to be given the accessibility. Then Article 12, 14, and 16 also speaks about the equality rights or liberty or security of the persons or their freedom from exploitation. And this is all just to ensure that the persons with disability, they are more vulnerable, and the violence, the abuses against their persons, particularly the persons who are having dual disability, the persons with disability who are the senior citizens, the persons, they are the women, they are the children. So they are to face the double types of the disability, and that's why special care has to be taken so that there may not be the exploitation or violence or abuse against their persons. And it is to be identified, investigated in an appropriate manner, and they must be prosecuted also if there is any abuse of these things. So you see that this UNCRPD very categorically speaks about the equality, and through that equality, accessibility, and that accessibility is making the way for the access to justice for all the persons with disability. Then besides various conventions and declarations, there is one international principle and guidelines also on the access to justice for the persons with disability of 2020. And these principles and guidelines, they have been endorsed by the International Commission of Jurists and International Disability Alliance, along with this United Nations Development Program, UNDP also. There are 10 principles, and these principles have been made in accordance with Article 13 of the UNCRPD, which speaks about the access to justice. And this is simply just to these principles seek to set out the equal and fair access to justice without discrimination. And the very first principle that says that all the persons with disability have the legal capacity so that they shall not be denied access to justice on the basis of disability. Now, this is very important principle. So once it is established that the persons is having the legal capacity, then all the rights which are available to other persons, those are to be made available to the persons with disability also. So by putting this principle number one, access to justice to the persons with disability has been made a very, very fruitful and successful in the area of Article 13, which speaks about the access to justice. Then to ensure the access to justice without discrimination, and to provide all the facilities and services, and they have the right to appropriate procedural accommodations. Another principle which is related, that they are also entitled for substantive and procedural safeguards. They are also they have the right of free or affordable legal assistance. So you see the 10 principles which are there from 2020 onwards, and those are the principles which we already have in our system, in our legal system, as the statutory principles, as the constitutional principles, and also as the UNCRPD speaks about these things, that in order to give the effective system, effective access to justice, these principles have to be followed, and the persons with disability have to be treated equally as the other person, with that of the other person. So you see, this access to justice for persons with disabilities, it requires a very, very effective and robust monitoring mechanism also, because we have so many laws, we have so many provisions, we have international human rights law, and we have protective measures and provisions. But you see, the persons with disability continue to face problems and discriminations, and also various obstacles are there in access to justice. So we see that these obstacles or these discriminations are in different forms of discriminations, like there are certain legal barriers. Legal barriers, you see that when the rights are not enshrined in the law, though we have in India the law, that is RPWD Act, but there are countries where they have not enacted this law. Then where the policies or the laws or the practice of that particular country to the provisions of the CRPD, and they are contrary with this provision which has been made in the domestic law as well as in the CRPD. The legal framework may be confusing, that may be complicated, or you see when there are overlapping or incompatibilities between national laws, then again there are these legal barriers which doesn't allow the person with disability to access to justice, and on that basis they are being discriminated. Then another thing which is there in the society, that is attitudinal barrier also. Everybody is aware about that, wherein in access to justice, I'm confining myself to the access to justice. So this attitudinal barrier is related with the police, the lawyers, the judges. They develop a negative attitude also sometimes, or you can say this attitude is based on the false beliefs and assumptions, and that they treat these persons with disability as less credible at all the stages of legal processes, like reporting the crime, or whether one can serve as a witness or not, or one can participate in the legal proceedings or not. So there is a need of the training for police and other officials also, to enable them to understand the specific needs of the persons with disability in accessing justice, and how to provide the necessary accommodation to these persons, to avoid these attitudinal barriers also, because the provisions, the guidelines, they all speaks about the training. So what type of the training is to be given, that is important, and for that a very robust mechanism is required. That, and the persons who are belonging to this particular group, they must also be the part that these are their problems, and how to avoid, how to give the training to these persons or officials who are involved in the in this administration of justice system, how they have to change their attitudes towards the persons with disability. These type of the trainings are very much required, because this attitudinal barrier is one of the barrier in access to justice to the persons with disability. Then another thing is that we are a developing society, and information and communication is there. That is also one of the barriers. So if the access to information is not provided in accessible formats, if the websites are not understandable by the persons with disability, if they are not able to reach to the information, they cannot seek remedies for injustices, because they do not know either their legal rights or how to exercise them under the law, and what constitutes a crime, how to report it, how to find the legal or other services. So all these informations, if they are not available in the accessible format or in the accessible mode of communication with which they are aware about, so that would limit their ability to access to the justice. That would limit their ability, that they won't be able to report the crimes, and they would not be able to have the effective participation in the legal proceedings also. So you see that this lack of accommodation to the persons with disability, that to facilitate the communication, that especially in cases of the persons who are blind, who are deaf and blind, people, or the people with the intellectual disabilities also, and people with learning disabilities, that is the denial of access to justice to those persons. So this information and communication barrier is also limiting their rights to access to justice. Then of course there are physical barriers. Access to justice can be impeded where the measures have to be taken to ensure the accessibility to the courts, to the police stations, and to the offices of the advocates, the jail, prisons also, and other public buildings. So lack of accessible transportation to the service providers whose work is relevant to the administration of justice, that also imposes this barrier, and the persons cannot get their right to access to justice also, because they won't be able to reach to the court of law, they won't be able to reach to the police station, they won't be able to reach to the advocate to tell something about their case. So all these things which require the accessibility. So this physical accessibility, physical barrier is also one of the thing which is limiting their right, or which is restraining the persons with disability to get the access to justice. And of course, very importantly, one more barrier, that is the economic barrier. And we all know what is the condition of India. The poverty situation is very bad here in India, and the lack of economic resources that can directly impact the right to access to justice. How to engage and pay for the quality legal advocate whose fees are much higher. How to engage them in the litigation, which is very expensive also and very lengthy also. You see, if there is a case, then the final outcome or the final decision takes a minimum 15 to maximum 50 years of time. So during that time, the expenses which are to be involved in these type of the cases, then this also limits the right to access to justice because of this economic barrier of the person concerned. So The question now is how to ensure access to justice for the persons with disability and how to overcome these barriers. So you see, this will require a very, very holistic and integrated approach. And there are various challenges also to go with this these type of the approaches, but there you see is a huge need for the disability awareness trainings to the police officers, to the lawyers, to the judges and other professionals in the legal justice system or the legal administration of legal system. As to how to accommodate the persons with disability effectively and to make the processes accessible and inclusive also. And the training, as I told you, that is the part of the guidelines also, that is the part of the acts also, that is the part of the UNCRPD also. So that training, and that has to be monitored. That training should cover accessible communications, that should cover reasonable accommodations for the persons with disability in criminal justice system. And the training that should also include the needs and the rights of the persons to enable them to respond effectively to the crimes which are involving them. Particularly you see the crimes of the sexual violence. The sexual violence crimes which are being committed on women who is a disabled women, then you see that they are not able to communicate, they are not able to effectively respond upon that. How to do these things, a special training program is also required for that. And one very important point is that these training programs should be organized in consultation and in collaboration with the persons with disability and their representative organizations. And for that, you see, I'm of the opinion that the law school should also come forward through their legal awareness, legal literacy or legal aid programs, so that the persons with disability can enter and participate in the legal professions also, they can enter in the legal jobs also, they can justice on their own. They don't have to wait, they won't have to wait for the good lawyers and otherwise, and they must be given more and more part in the legal education so that they can understand their own rights and they can directly move and can go for the access to justice also. So there is a need also for community level awareness, for empowerment and for the supporting these members of the society so that they can obtain access to justice. And you see, there is also some need to develop a comprehensive disability access plan for communication, for information and communication technology like sign language, interpreters, braille and others, because this acts as a barrier in access to justice. And a special budget is also required. That is very, very necessary in our, when we see that the union budget comes, then this special budget is also required for appropriate accommodation for the individuals who are requiring the assistance, the funding for the sign language interpreters, the funding for the screen readers, the funding for the related assistance, and all these things are very much required, for which money is required. So a special budget is also to be a part of this system. And finally, as we all know, that access to justice is a fundamental right, it's a statutory right, as well as a prerequisite for the protection of all other human rights. So human rights cannot be limited to a simple show of good intentions or only declarations without any practical effectiveness. So practical effectiveness can be achieved only when there is a proper budget, there are proper trainings, and the persons who are involved in, they have the capacity also, that how to deal with these persons they can work upon. Only then we can say that in a democracy which is governed by rule of law, and ours is a democracy which is governed by rule of law, in which judiciary is the ultimate guarantor for the human rights. So you see that all these things would be made available to the persons with disability. And at the same time, judiciary has also a very, very significant role in providing access to justice to the persons, because they have the duty to promote the equality among all the persons. Especially, they have to ensure that everyone has the right to access to justice on equal basis. This is what the judiciary has to do. So all the three organs of the state, it's not only the legislature or the executive or the judiciary, but they combined, they have to come forward to ensure the inclusive accommodation on equal basis to the persons with disability, so that they may get access to justice as a fundamental human right. And I hope that the latest draft standards and that is on the standards and guidelines which have been issued by the Ministry of Home Affairs on 22nd November 2021. And they have also sought some comments and feedback from the persons till 12th December of this month under this Accessible India campaign for specific built infrastructures for associated services for the police station and prison, etc. particularly. Will also ensure access to justice if these guidelines will be executed properly. So with these words, I will stop myself here. And I thank the organizers, especially Dr. Vaishali Kohle, for organizing this seminar on a very, very relevant issue and for the persons with disability. And I hope that the seminar, this academic exercise for the last 2 days, that would be very, very fruitful for all the persons, and very good results would have come out. That would be good also for the accessibility as a whole and access to justice in particular to the person concerned, because without justice, without rights, all these things would be null and void. So access to justice is very important for that purpose. And I wish a grand success also for your seminar, and all the proceedings need to be published.